evening. It's the night time, but you know what? Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Renee Adams Show and Empowerment Week. I have my guest Ayanna Gallow Mills tonight, but just a few housekeeping things to mention before we get started. Please like, share, comment, and ask questions during the broadcast. And also, if you want to be a guest on the show, please inbox me if you have an inspiring story or if you have a product or service that you would want to promote as well. So, my guest tonight, Ayanna Mills Gallow, is a three-time international best-selling author. She is all about helping the voiceless by encouraging them to bring their story to life in a way that she has, and that is by the gift of writing and being the author of your life by owning it and bringing it alive to inspire others. So, welcome to the show, Ayanna Mills Gallow. I am so
Thank you
excited
so
to have
much.
you here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. Hi, Facebook.
Yes, it's always great to have guests like you on that's passionate about what you do
Yes.
and have a story behind it, which is really important. So,
Yeah.
welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So, for starters, if we can just start by you sharing with the audience a little bit about your backstory and how it
Mhm.
got you here.
Yes. So my name is Ayanna Mills Gallow. I am originally from New York, born and raised. I attended Temple University in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where I obtained a bachelor's of business degree. I graduated from the high honors program, and I also graduated magna cum laude with a dual major in risk management and marketing.
Okay.
After graduating from Temple, I went into my dream job on Wall Street in New York City, and I
Wow,
have been
no
working.
way.
Yes, but I moved after 9/11, moved down to Atlanta to start over. So I have enjoyed a 20-year career in the insurance career, focusing on risk management and marketing, and I'm having a great time
That's
doing that.
good. Yay. That is so exciting. I think what's really inspiring about you is your story of how it brought you to become like the best-selling author and this book coach that now you can call yourself, right?
Right.
So I want the audience to hear about that story and how you were able to bring all of this together.
Sure. So, like I said, I've enjoyed a 20-year career now in the insurance industry. I get paid to travel, to market insurance products, and I really love what I do. I'm a very diligent and I enjoy a fast paced environment and I enjoy challenges. I am always a confidant for my friends and my family. And last year it paid off for me
Okay.
because I was speaking to a friend who was going through some problems and I was just trying to talk him through and help him resolve his problems. And he said he wished he could hear that every day. So I said, you know what? I'm going to write you a book so that you can hear it every day. And that's why I decided to write a book so that he can have something to read. So I wanted it to be a daily thing. So I made it be a daily devotional. But I'm like, how do I get him to read it? You
Right.
know?
Exactly.
Now, I'm a hip hop enthusiast, but he was in a rap group back in the day. So I said, I'm going to give it a hip hop theme.
And
And since
that is a
we're
part of your
ready,
whole thing is being this hip hop enthusiast. So we're gonna
yes,
get to that later, but you can continue on with the story.
yeah, so I am a hip hop enthusiast, and because he was in a rap group back in the day, I said I'm going to give it a hip hop theme so
Hmm.
that he will read it. So that's how you have God and hip hop.
Yes.
So it's a 21-day biblical devotional inspired by hip hop. And each day it takes a topic and an issue that's commonly discussed in the hip hop community, aka African American community,
Right.
and it also has the scripture reference to go with it, along with some self-reflection questions, because self-reflection is key to try to help you heal internal
Love
pain
that. Yes.
that's hip so that you can have happiness, opportunities, and prosperity. That's HOP. And
Thank
of
you.
course, in order to have that, you have to have God, goals, optimism, and determination.
I
So
love that.
that's
Yeah.
God in hip hop.
Yes, and I wanted you to elaborate on that because I think that was just a brilliant way to title your book. I mean, because it
Mhm,
just brings everything together.
mhm.
The title being God and Hip Hop because of what you said it means. And I was like, wow, that's brilliant to, spell out hip, and the way that you said it is heals and it's eternal and it's pain and hop
Mhm.
is happiness, opportunities, and prosperity. So
Yes.
when you thought about that, what came about for you to tie that all together? Like what was it in you that made you want to tie all that together into God and hip hop?
Right, right. So let me also say that I am a licensed and ordained evangelist. So I have been studying the Bible for a very long time. I actually did not have a spiritual background when I was younger,
Okay.
but I had a love for music.
Right.
So it's important to me to give back to my music community, my music lovers, to help them get a better relationship with the Lord so that they can increase and that they can be prosperous outwardly. So it was important to me. So that's my way of giving back. And it's like, in order to do anything, I believe that you have to have a relationship with God because that's the only way to make it, right? That's the only way to make it. So I made it by the grace of God when I was younger. So
Yeah,
I
talk about
now
that.
knowing,
Yeah,
yeah,
talk
yeah,
about that because that's where really all of this comes from is
right,
your internal pain. So,
right.
for that to, it existed in you. So
Hmm.
now you're putting it out there. So tell us what your internal pain was that really motivated you towards that.
Yeah, so for me, I come from a very loving, dysfunctional family. Loving, dysfunctional, and my background is a little bit different because I was born 6 weeks after my mother's 13th birthday.
Okay.
I was conceived in rape.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. My mother was
I'm
raped.
thinking that. Okay. So is that hard for you to talk about now, or is it easier because you now are like writing about it? So is it easier for
Mhm.
you to talk about?
It's very easy for me to talk about
Okay.
because
Do you feel, yeah, why do you feel like it's easier to talk about
honestly, when I was writing the book, right now, I am taking problems that we all go through in the African American community, but problems that are not often talked about.
now? Right.
So, and as I was writing it, I wrote down my friends' issues and issues that other friends had that were similar. So I made sure I tackle all the issues that were like, the core issues.
Mhm.
And then my story was the hardest. So I saved it for last.
Okay.
But I wrote it the quickest. I wrote it the quickest.
You wrote
And
it the quickest.
yes, I did. I
I
wrote
mean,
it the
was it just
quickest.
because it was just flowing and it was just time to get it out, you think?
Well, first, let me just say this. When you are writing, writing increases your creativity. The more you write, the easier it will be to write. So
Okay.
because I'd written the rest of it, naturally it would be easier to write because writing is like a muscle. So the
Right.
more you do it, the more you're able to do it.
Yeah.
And I actually wrote it in the form of a poem. So writing is definitely a gift to me, but I also think that writing is a stress reliever.
Oh, absolutely. It's therapy.
So it is very therapeutic. So when I wrote it, I released it and I put it in a book. I was very nervous to put it in a book because that means everyone would know about it.
Absolutely.
But I'm so glad I did. And the more I write about it and speak about it, the easier it becomes.
Okay.
That
Okay.
was the first time I really publicly shared that.
Yeah.
And I feel a lot lighter, a lot freer.
Yeah.
And
And what kind of response have you gotten from writing your story? What kind of response have you gotten from that?
the thing is, I've gotten a lot of tears
Mm-hmm.
because people were saying to me, I had no idea you were going through that. And you're always so happy and you are successful. I didn't think that someone can go through that and still be successful. And that really resonated with me. It's like people are like, I have a whole lot of respect for you now. Everyone knows that I'm a worker bee. Everyone knows that. And I'm also a very happy person and I'm very sweet and loving. So typically you think that someone should be kind of messed up if they go through that.
If they go through that, right? But do you think that you were just being yourself, right? Or do you feel like it was more masking?
Well, I'll be honest with you and I'll tell you that I think that when you are born as a result of rape, you feel unwanted, And in fact, my family took my mother to have an abortion when she was pregnant with me. So you feel unwanted and unloved.
Right.
So the best way to try to get people to be friendly with you is to be friendly with them.
Okay.
So I was just putting out what I really wanted to get back, and it probably was a result of insecurity, but it was a good thing, because it's a lot. I say for some people, it's a lot easier for them to be mean than it is to be nice. But for me, it's a lot easier for me to be nice than it is for me to be mean. And I
Do you
think that
yeah, yeah, go ahead. You think
I, I think that when my mother, she did not plan to give birth to me, right? And, I felt like I was a mistake and I wasn't really supposed to be here. So while I was here, I wanted to do good. I wanted to receive good.
absolutely
So I wanted to get as much love as I possibly could get.
right.
So honestly, I put out as much love as I can get so that I can get it back in return.
So there was never ever like this mean bone in your body where you wanted to take it out on anybody. You felt that you rather um, not take it out because it's nobody's fault outside of what happened, right? So
Honestly, I never felt that way. And it's difficult to not feel that way. But the reason I never felt that way is that the man who raped my mom was his stepdad. And for some reason, my grandmother allowed him to stay in the home.
oh
So
God.
so I saw
Oh
him every day. Yeah, I saw him every day. I
oh my
did. I did. I saw him every day, and he actually was very kind to me. I Yeah. So he was very loving to me. My family never talked about it. No one ever spoke about it. They act like I fell from the sky. Yeah. So everyone
good.
was very silent.
Emotional to talk about. Yeah, because if they kept him in the house, then obviously
Mhm.
they didn't believe you.
Well, my mom. So no, they believed her. I want to say that maybe they kept him in the house for financial reasons, but either way, he stayed there until he died, which was when I was 17.
How did he die?
So cirrhosis of the liver.
Okay.
He was an alcoholic. He
Oh wow.
drank himself to death.
Oh wow. Okay. So
Yeah.
I mean, this is like a really when you really look at this story, it can go really deep. Like as far as your healing, like what did
Mhm.
you have to do to kind of heal for you not to think of? I mean, it could be hard if you're like, wow, this is how I was conceived, and this is my life, and that's how I was raised. Like, what was your healing process like?
My healing process began day one, I would say, and it still goes on now. But no one ever told me about it. Like, no one sat me down and told me about it. A family member was being very malicious, and she told me when I was about 4 or 5 years old. And the way that she told me, I knew that she should not have told me. So,
What do you mean by that?
well, she was trying to hurt my grandmother and my mother. So she said to me, "You know, your grandfather's your father, right?" And I said, "Yeah, I know." And I just kept on smiling. And I could tell that the way she said it wasn't something that I should repeat because of the intent. I could tell even at that age. And then I also could tell because other family members would come by who didn't know, and they would say, "Wow." They would compare me to him, like that we looked so much alike. So I put two and two together. My family never sat me down and told me about it. My mother didn't tell me until the day he died, which was when I was 17. So I knew my entire childhood. And what I did was, my motto is not to focus on the problem, but focus
Yeah,
on the solution and
right.
implement the strategy to get the results. Now, my mother was very overprotective of me because, she was a rape victim. So I really couldn't go anywhere except for school.
Right. Okay.
So
So do you feel
school,
like you were kind of protected, or you had to stay in the house and not do go anywhere or be with people, whether that's girls or boys?
hmm
Were you more closed in to where you didn't
hmm
have a sociable life?
yeah.
Yeah.
So my mother definitely picked on my friends, and I was very restricted, but
Okay.
school was my outlet. So I honestly would tell you that I focused on school because it was positive,
Right.
and also because I can get away from the noise at home.
Right.
So
Exactly.
school was my outlet that I
Absolutely.
used.
So that was your
And
heal.
school was my refuge, my place of refuge.
I like that. Okay.
Yeah, I had perfect attendance from elementary all through high school.
Okay.
And what happened was when I went to school, another part of the healing is that my mother told me that my brain was like a computer. So I let that fuel me, like thinking that I can learn and apply anything.
Wow.
So I saw that I was good at school, and I saw the success that came with it, and I felt good about myself. So I continued, and that same work ethic I applied in my career, and I still apply it now in my authorpreneurship.
Yes, I like that entrepreneurship. Yes, that's I like that. Absolutely. And it's always just such a brave move to make when you're telling your story and you're putting it out, because it's not the first time that it's happened, right? It happens, but
Yeah.
the brave ones are the ones to tell it, and that's
Yes.
what you are doing.
Yes. And that's what
Yeah.
I'm doing. No
And
longer being silent.
shameful about it. You don't
No.
feel, any remorse or regret about doing it. It's like, I need to do this. Let me put it out, and now it's out. Right
Right. It's very
now,
important
yeah,
because, the Bible even tells us that we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of our testimony. So it's helping me, but it's helping other people. It helps motivate them. They say, well, if you went through that, then clearly I can go through this.
right, exactly.
And I would just be doing everyone a disservice if I pretended that everything was perfect. I don't
Right.
want to do that. I just don't want to. I found my healing, I found my positive outlet, and there are things that I did that I applied to help me to be successful. And I want to tell them, okay, I had this pain, but this is what I did to kind of heal my internal
Absolutely.
pain.
You found it. You
I
found it.
found it. I found my happiness, my opportunities, and my prosperity, which continues to increase as a result of my healing. Because when you're healed inside, you can perform so much better outside.
Absolutely. Isn't that the truth?
It
Oh
is.
my God. I wish many people would actually understand and get that, like go through the healing process to know what it feels like to feel liberated and to
Mhm.
have that free, that free spirit kind of way about
Yeah.
yourself. Like it just to let all that out.
You
It is
have to.
it feels
You
good.
have to. And now I enjoy coaching other women to help them heal their internal pain. I
Mm.
have a 5-step method that I use to get the writers to write their story. And one of the steps is, excuse me, I have to sneeze. Excuse me. One of the steps is I, and that's for inspire. And I kind of trick them, but I say, anyone can recite what happened to them, but you have to give the feelings behind it, right?
Right.
So when I tell them to inspire, reach down, dig deep. How did you really feel? Did you feel terrible, like you couldn't live, like you wanted to die? If you felt that way, write about it because there are other people going through the same thing. You got through it, so then they can get through it. So I love it when they come back and they say, "Oh, I cried, I cried." And I will tell you a common thing they say is, "I wrote it so quickly when I did that." And I say, "Wow." Because once you start writing it out and you kind of inspire yourself,
Right.
and when you reach down and the tears flow, that's part of healing.
Absolutely. The purge.
Yes, yes, it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. So when we talk about, because now you're on to when you talk about the I for inspire, that's a
Mhm.
part of your actual coaching, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Did you want to go into
So
that a little bit?
sure, yes, that's my baby. So once I wrote the book last year, I spent a lot of money learning how to publish the book and how to get the book seen and things like that. But I wasn't satisfied with any of the services that I was getting. So I just took everything to another level and I just put 110% into learning everything myself and not relying on anyone.
Wow.
Because,
That's huge.
people yeah, because what I find is like a lot of people who have online businesses and who are authors, their experiences in that, but my experience is in business. So I know when business is not being handled properly. So I wanted to put that same energy that I did into my career into my entrepreneurship. And, I said, well, if I'm gonna write a book and it's out there, I might as well maximize
Yeah,
book sales and
absolutely good for you and becoming
yeah.
three times international best-selling
And
author.
And I have to be honest with you, I've said 3 time international,
Oh,
but it's actually more than that.
oh my God. Okay.
I just feel so since I spoke to you last, I have 2 new books that dropped.
Oh my God.
So I have 5 number 1
No
international,
way.
but I have 10 or 12 best-selling books in total.
Oh my God. I can't wait to work with you.
So I just feel so weird because
Yes.
I
It seems
say,
like every book that you put your hands on is turning to gold, like everything. Just
and
spring.
it does, but it's also by design. I learned the effective way to actually tell a story and to write whatever it is that you're writing. So no matter what kind of book you're writing, I know how to make it apply to the audience, the target group.
I like that.
And
That's important. Yes.
yes,
People need to hear that too. People
yes,
need to hear that what it
yes.
takes to write a book. And that's part of it. Right. Okay.
Yes, yes. So like
Yes.
I said, once I learned it and like me, whenever I learn anything, I want to teach everybody what I learned because I'm so excited about learning and I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it. Some of my best friends have worked with me and their books are best-selling books. And
Wow. That's
listen,
so scary.
my sons are 9 and 12 and they both have best-selling
Oh
books.
my God.
My 12-year-old has
I'm so
two.
sorry. Like it got really loud, but oh my goodness. That is great.
Yeah.
That is
Yes.
so good to teach them not
Hmm.
only to write but to tell stories.
Yes, because I don't want them to ever be silent like I used to be.
Wow.
And I encourage that so much. And they have the I give them so I practice with them first. So I actually trained them first before I started coaching other people because they're in school. So it's just so funny. I have it on my refrigerator already. Their method is different.
Oh, good. Oh my gosh. I love that.
Yes.
That is so incredible. Thank you for at least bringing that up because that is really good. Because I think a lot of people, parents need to have that kind of like, and teach their children too. Like, let me
Yeah.
show you how to do this. Or
Yeah.
something pertaining to telling a story because nowadays it's just all text and
Right.
and sometimes I mean even find myself when I'm writing. I used to be like the best like speller ever, and now I find myself I can't even. I'm like LOL, and I'm like what like
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So, but it's so good to keep that habit going rather than just
Yes.
thinking that text is the way to go because you need
Right.
you don't want to lose
Right.
that. You want to always
Right.
have that skill going because you're always going to use it because you have your
Mm-hmm.
hand always going to be
Mm-hmm.
writing with
Yeah.
somehow, right? So,
Yes, I make them handwrite it. I do. I make them handwrite it because it's something with hand-eye coordination, and it's something about when you see a tangible item, it's in your hand, you can hold it. It just does something to your creativity. It really helps you. So I do make them write things out.
okay.
And I make them journal every day.
Oh, wow.
Journaling is very important. Very important. It's a free counselor, a free therapist.
So no, you're right. And how do they enjoy that? How do they like it?
They it's so funny. It's very interesting. They love it, and they started writing poetry and putting it in forms of poems also. So like I said, the more you write it, the easier it becomes. And what I found is that they were sticking to the script, and I had to say, no, 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 you're writing it just like that every day. But they were following the guide that I gave them. I said, no, 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 no. I want you to diversify a little bit more. Talk about this. Elaborate on this part of your day. I want to know specifically what happened in this class,
Oh my
just to help.
goodness. That's good though, because there's like it's one kind of defined area that you're focusing on with them. And I think that's so
Yeah.
good. It's not like all over the place, right?
Right.
Something that you're passionate about, you're helping them focus on every single day. And that's
Yes, every day.
good. Oh my
Mm-hmm.
God, it's so good. Okay, so when we talk about God and hip hop,
Mm-hmm.
how do you look at creating success for others through that model or through
Mm-hmm.
that idea?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to me, it's a model for life, and I definitely use that for other people because number one, with God stands for goals and gratitude. Opportunities is the O, and D is a optimism, not opportunities, optimism, and D is a determination. You have to have a goal to know where you want to go, right?
Absolutely.
And you have to tune out all the negativity, all the noise, and focus on the positive outlets, right? That's the O. And you have to be determined to get there. You have to implement the plan it takes to achieve that goal. So you not only have a goal, but you have a result in mind. You want multiple streams of income. Now you have to implement the plan to get that multiple streams of income. How do you create that? So going through the steps of what you do. So like I teach them to get multiple streams of income, not just from book sales, but other avenues. But a lot of people don't understand that you can get multiple streams of income from books. By that I mean, for an example, I have my books in an ebook form, Matt.
Yes.
That's so I get ebook royalties from my ebook readers. I have paper book format, so I get paperback royalties from my paperback readers. I have hardcover books published, so I get royalty sales from my hardcover books. I have my books in retail stores. So I
Wow.
get income from that. I have my books in bookstores. So I get royalty sales from that.
Oh,
So
wow. That's amazing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's maximizing book sales. You want to make sure that your books are everywhere where you can get income, whether it's having a book signing, a joint book signing, a book tour. All those are ways to maximize your book sales. And then also the plan is also to develop multiple streams of income from other avenues outside of books. If you have a book, you have a business, okay?
You right, if you know what you're doing.
If you know what you're doing,
Right.
if you,
Make it
right,
into a business. You have to be intentional about
you
it.
have to be intentional about your book's brand. You have to know what the brand is in your target
Okay.
market so that you can brand that same story into a podcast, into a web show, into a course,
Mm-hmm.
into a speaking career. So that's how you get multiple streams of income from other areas. So it's all about maximizing your potential from one book,
That's good
you know?
information.
Yes, it
That is
is. So,
good information.
mhm.
Yeah. So, like I said, I'm working with you.
Yes, yes, that's right. I'm all about that. And you want to know what else? There are power in numbers, okay? Power in
Telling
numbers.
me, girl. What?
So
Yes.
now let me tell you something. With my anthology for the book From Glass to Stone,
Yes.
that book, we released it in pre-release status on January the 1st. Okay. So now it's 10 authors. When I did God and Hip Hop, it was just me. So now it's 10 authors, 10 authors that I coach to do the same thing at the same time. So you're going to get 10 times the result. So by the fourth day of pre-release, they moved the book from number one in new release to number one in overall bestseller
Wow.
because that's the power of collaborating, you know?
I would have never thought. That's why so many people are now doing that. So many people
Yeah.
are starting the anthology books.
Oh, they are. Well, yeah, but mine is different because the thing that separates mine is that I coach them to write the stories. I don't let them just write it. I coach them to write it with the intention of turning it into a business. So that's the difference. I don't like the way they do anthologies. I just was in one. I wasn't satisfied at all. And that's what made me do my own.
So, so tell us what the difference is between. So you're coaching people through to tell their story rather than having them write it on their own. So what were you dissatisfied more? So of working with
Mhm.
other people, like what was the difference?
So what they do in an anthology is they give you a topic and they give you some writing prompts and they tell you to write. And you have to come up with a certain number of words. That's not what I do. I
Okay.
coach them live, 4 live sessions where we actually break it down. We break down the outline. How many words should be for this part? How many words should be for this part? And how to structure it. And to make sure that it's consistent and make sure that it's transformational. Because people don't want to buy a book about your life. They want to know what's in it for me.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to be intentional. And remember, the purpose of this book is to become a best selling author, but also to develop a business for yourself. So I have to know what their goals are and help them to communicate that through their story.
That's great. Oh my gosh. I did not know how brilliant you were going to be during this interview.
Thank
Great.
you so much. Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Oh my gosh. Like anyone, I feel anyone that was thinking about writing a book, I feel like they're going to reach out to you. Like,
I sure hope so. I sure hope so. I enjoy it so much. I mean, I just love helping people with these books. I have a new anthology that starts April 1st. It's called Write, Pray, Release.
okay,
So it's at writeprayrelease.com.
okay.
And write, pray, release is actually my method that I use throughout the process. So the write is how they write the story. It's broken out to WRITE. Each letter stands for a different part of the writing process. And then the pray, that's the publishing part of it, to get the book to be a bestseller. And then the release, you release your story, you release your number one best-selling book, and you release multiple streams of income. So that's that. But that came from, a poem that I wrote. It's write, pray, release so that you can have peace.
Yes.
So that's why my program is called Write, Pray, Release.
I love it. Yay. I think you basically touched on everything, because I was like, okay, I have to have her talk about her book, Glass to Stone.
Yes.
God and hip hop. So we talked about that. And I think those are, well, as far as Glass to Stone, like if you can go into that a little bit more, because we went more into God and hip hop.
God and hip hop. Yes. From Glass to Stone is amazing. Oh, the book releases on March the 15th. And what it is, see, God and Hip Hop had one story, which was my story, and I received a lot of testimonials from it. So what I did was I took the self-reflection questions in the end of God and Hip Hop and used those as writing prompts for the anthology From Glass to Stone. So the reason why it's called From Glass to Stone, because from is a place that they used to be, to is where they are right now at their best self. And glass to stone, glass is the place that they were in when they were broken, more fragile. And stone is where they are now, solid, successful, and strong women.
Yes. Yes. I love the title.
Yes. Yes.
So good. Oh
From
my
glass to stone. Yes. So it's exciting. The women are amazing women, amazing stories, and they're very successful. So this book not only talks about their journey, and it's not stuff that we always talk about. A lot of times we talk about sexual abuse.
Yeah.
That's something that's common in the African American community. That's something that's common with women. I want to talk about the things that we don't usually talk about. Okay, so the 10 stories in there, they're different stories. It's not your typical stories, things that we all go through, but we don't talk about. So I have a story from incarceration to motivation. Someone who's a 3-time convicted felon, but she's a business owner now. And she not only talks about her story, but the steps she took to get from to. It's important. How are you going to help these people? How are you going to prevent other people from going through it? How are you going to get those people out of it? So we outline what we did to get through. So, another story that I love in a book is from dyslexia to school educator. So she was dyslexic as a child, and now she's actually a school owner.
Oh, wow.
So dyslexia and learning problems, that's something that's common in the community, but not often talked about. People are embarrassed about it. So she overcame dyslexia. I don't really know many people who did that. So of course I wanted her to talk about that. Colorism is discussed, overcoming sickness, feeling like you want to kill yourself, also heartbreak is in there, of course, divorce, going from being divorced to being a single mother and successful single mother at that. So the book is very diverse. It even touches on caring for the elderly and what that is like, and the guilt you feel when when your loved one is sickly. And it's just, like I said, it's 10 stories, and it touches on things that we all dealt with or may well deal with.
Right. Yeah.
And it's important for me to get that out there.
Very nice. Very nice. Oh my God.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And so like amazing the way that you explained everything in grand detail. I really
Yeah.
thank you for coming onto the show and being so open and honest and
Yeah.
just willing to, just talk and
Yeah.
discuss these things. And I really appreciate you for that. So
Thank
I
you.
want, if you don't mind, if you can tell people where they can find you at. And
Yes. Yes. So my company that I use to use my voice and publish writings isn't the Thanks A Mills. So that's Thanks, THANX, Thanks A Mills. So thanksamills.com. Thanks A Mills on Facebook and Thanks A Mills on Instagram also. And they can also go to ayannagallow.com. It's the same, ayannagallow.com. And that's where they can find me.
That is so awesome. So please find Ayanna. I think you'll find some awesome things. If you didn't like this interview, I don't know. I feel like she gave some really great information for you all, and I hope that you have taken something with you from this.
Yeah.
As you know, this is Empowerment Week, and that's what it's all about. It's empowering
Mm-hmm.
you to be the best version of who you would want to become and who you feel like you are already. So please, follow her and take advantage of what this young lady is offering. Okay. And I just want to leave off with, if you would like to be a part of the Renee Adams Show, you can contact me, inbox me. And that is, if you have an inspiring story or a product or service that you would like to promote, you can get in contact with me. And I would love to have that conversation with you as well. So thank you so much, you all. I will, instead of tomorrow being on, since Christina was on yesterday, I had like 2 shows yesterday. So I'll be back on Friday with Troy Taylor. He's a super producer. He produced for Whitney Houston and Trey Songz and like huge people. So I'm excited. So I'll see you guys on Friday.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.